When you have two of the best teams in the NFL, when you have the Detroit Lions going up against the Buffalo Bills, it is obviously going to be promoted as a possible Super Bowl preview. You have the number 2 team in the AFC, the number 1 team in the NFC. This game is going to be, or is hoped to be, let's say, full of fireworks, and you're going to see the best of the best, possibly. And when you play a team as good as the Bills, or when you play a team as good as the Detroit Lions, I usually say on this podcast that these are the games where you can take the most out of. The most important data is collected through these games. Because yes, it's important to beat who you can beat. It's you play who's on your schedule. Obviously, you don't know what the season is going to hold for every team, but to me, you can't take much out of playing Giants. And I'm no offense to the Giants, but come on now. We'll talk about the Ravens and Giants shortly, but you can't take much out of a Giants game more than you can take out of a game against a possible Super Bowl contender. And when you look at the score, the Buffalo Bills beat the Detroit Lions 48-42. You'd think to yourself, oh man, this, high flying, high points, touchdown after touchdown, which is true. But as surprising as it is, and I'm going to sound like a hater, I know, but it's true. The data that I collected out of this game is simple. It's going to be extremely tough for either one of these teams at this moment to win a Super Bowl. Now, I'm not saying that neither team is great. I'm not saying that you can argue, obviously records will say different, but you can argue that the Buffalo Bills has been the best team in the AFC at least. We'll talk about the Chiefs in a second, but you can argue that the Buffalo Bills has been the best team, and I'm not going to say you've been wrong. Almost weekly, I have to come in here and say how wrong I was about my projections with this Buffalo Bills team. I thought that it would be a struggle this year, seeing how much went out the door this offseason or last offseason. I just didn't think it was going to matriculate in a good season. How wrong I am, or how wrong I was. I will admit that. Yes, I was wrong. I'm not above saying how wrong I am or not. You know what I'm saying? And I've kind of been right about the Detroit Lions. I thought that if there was going to be any year that the Detroit Lions was going to be great, it would be this year. You came off of a very impressive season last year, making it to the NFC Championship. And you hope that a team that brings back almost all of their core and gets key pieces was going to improve. And what do you know? I mean, they're the number 1 seed in the NFC. So all that is true. But after this game, I still feel, I'm not going to say much different, but I think that I thought it would be an easier road to the Super Bowl for both of these teams, seeing as how the season has unwind. I don't know about that right now. Let's start with the Buffalo Bills. Let me first attack the Josh Allen as this MVP notion. I have been adamant this year on Lamar Jackson being the MVP. I think how important he is to his team. I think the fact that he's playing better than both his previous MVP seasons. It would be very hard for me to look at what he's done this season and not think that he could or should be the MVP. But I also understand both optics. I also understand storyline, and I also understand record. And the reason why I'm not going to necessarily say changing my stance, but the reason why I understand completely the people that are saying that Josh Allen is the MVP, and Josh Allen, rightfully so, might win it, is because almost everything that I said coming into the season has come to fruition for this Buffalo Bills team in a certain way. And this is what I mean by that. Remember, I said the Buffalo Bills was going to struggle. That I was emphatically wrong about. But I said that they were going to struggle because there was a lot on Josh Allen's shoulders. When you lose the pieces that you lose, Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs, when you lose all the defensive pieces that they lost, I thought that there was a huge amount of pressure, huge amount of responsibility on the shoulders of Josh Allen. And while I had reservations that he was going to be able to do it or not, what we've seen this season is there are still a lot on Josh Allen's shoulders. Yes, Hollins has been much better. Keon Coleman is coming along. Dawson Knox is still really good. Dalton Kincaid is really good. Shakur is good. The pieces around Josh Allen is much better than I gave them credit for. I will admit that. But there's still a lot on Josh Allen's plate. The reason why I understand, and I wouldn't even be mad if he did win the MVP, is because he has taken that pressure. He's taken the amount of quote unquote burdens on his shoulder, and he's exceeded. Josh Allen, not only are the Bills one of the best teams in football, but he is by far, I'll say this, statistics wise, Lamar Jackson beats Josh Allen in almost every category outside of wins. However, Josh Allen bolds more responsibility to the offense or responsibility to the overall team success of the Buffalo Bills than Lamar Jackson does with the Baltimore Ravens. On top of that, the Baltimore Ravens have more losses than the Bills. I still am going to go out and say that Lamar Jackson is better than Josh Allen, but I'm not negating what we've seen from Josh Allen this year. Has been nothing short of incredible. And I think that if you put wins, losses aside, the clear-cut MVP this year would be Joe Burrow. But because they just can't get their act together, I understand that right now it's probably Josh Allen. But let me talk about the Bills as a whole before I discuss the Detroit Lions. The reason why, especially these last few weeks, Josh Allen has put up monster numbers. Maybe not as much the San Francisco game, because we know San Francisco was just dealing with, it's just the season from hell from them. But the reason why these gaudy numbers are getting highlighted with Josh Allen is because he needs to put up these numbers. I say this all the time. Winning. Whoa, why did my voice do that? Wow, I'm sorry, guys. I say this all the time. Winning blankets a lot of issues. And greatness also is a perfect blanket for issues. What I mean by that is, when we talk about the Buffalo Bills, we talk about the record, we talk about how good they've been, we talk about Josh Allen. One thing that doesn't get talked about enough is their issue with stopping the run, or the back end of their defense has not been great, especially these last few games. Or the fact of the offensive line hasn't been the best. Yo, I know that these games can happen, but the Detroit Lions put 42 on this team's head. And while, yes, the Buffalo Bills did win and put 48, you allowed 42 points. You allowed Jared Goff to throw for almost 500 yards. He threw for 494 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown alone had 193 yards. Now, I know that Amon-Ra is a top 5 wide receiver, but still. While yes, you have Josh Allen, and that is always going to be the talking point. That's always going to be bullet number one as to why a person would have faith in the Buffalo Bills. But as great as Josh Allen is, he doesn't completely mask the issues with this Buffalo Bills team that they could run into if they go up against the Chiefs, if they go up against the Ravens and the Ravens play the way that they're supposed to play. I'm not saying that Buffalo, I will say this, when they're playing at their best, I don't think that there's a team, at least in the AFC, that can stop them because of, like I said, bullet number one, how good Josh Allen is, number 17. But if he isn't Superman, if he doesn't put on that cape, this team does have some issues. While players have been playing out there, James Cook has been incredible. Even in this game, he rushed for 105 yards. What if you have a run-stopping defense? What I'm saying is, the Bills have been playing with fire this whole year because they've been able to. Because they have the ultimate extinguisher this year in Josh Allen. Oh, man, you stayed to the end of the video. I appreciate you. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any content from your boy. You can also go back and watch past episodes, past clips, and don't forget that the Unpopular Podcast, new episodes drop every Wednesday and Saturday. Appreciate you.